Obviously excited to get back on the field with our players, get an opportunity to go compete again. It feels like it's been a minute again since we've been on the field. As you look at Navy, you know, a typical, in my opinion, Navy-type team. Very well coached. I think Ken and his staff do a fantastic job. They're always so difficult to prepare for. When you look at them offensively and all the things that they're doing, plus you add the next factor into it where they have thrown the ball quite a bit more throughout the year than what they've done in years past. So you've got to prepare for both of those things. And then defensively, I think Coach Newberry does an outstanding job, just a lot of different looks, a lot of different blitzes, stunts, moving the front, shifting and moving around. So we got to do a really good job being prepared. Our guys have got to be, assignment sound on both sides of the football, be, locked into our targets, and then making sure that we do a good job when we do get latched on of being able to finish some things. So whether that's tackling, whether that's blocking, whatever that might be. Watched them obviously a little bit versus Memphis last week. Very tough game there at home. Could have gone either way. Again, this is a team that we have we've had really good games with, played close with, haven't come out on top in a long time. So we know we're going to have our hands full, especially going up to their place. I expect it to be an exciting game, and looking forward to getting back on the field and competing.
Coach, with you guys, I think needing just one win of the final two to clinch a spot in the championship game, given the way their season's kind of gone and obviously, like you just said, the history and the way they play and what makes it so difficult to kind of defend them, but then given the fact that they maybe want to play a little spoiler, is that something that maybe if you've ever been on that side of things, maybe as a coach and knowing that if you don't have that much to play for, is that kind of a sense of motivation, or is that something just kind of overblown, or do you kind of feel that, hey, they might come in with a little extra juice, kind of knowing what they could do?
The one thing that I can always tell you when you're playing a team like Navy is their kids never quit. They don't have that in them. They're going to play for 60 minutes. That's the way our games have always been with them, whether tons were on the line or not a lot on the line. I think these two teams both play extremely hard. They both play very physical. I don't expect that to be any different this year. And I think both of us are trying to go 1-0 this week. And that's been our focus and our intent all year long. I'm sure that it's been Ken's. And we have an opportunity to get better this week than we were last time we were on the field. And I think that's what our guys are locked into. Obviously, we put ourselves in the driver's seat with some things, but this game right now is the most important thing on our plate.
Coach, Scott Wyckoff from WBAL Radio in Baltimore. So often, I know when you play Navy, you talk about preparing for the triple option offense, but looking at the film last week, what a job their defense did against a team you know well in Memphis with their potent offense. What's impressed you the most about what their defense showed you last week?
Yeah, very impressed with their defense. I mean, obviously, I thought they flew around. I thought they did a good job of taking some things away from Memphis, made it very difficult on them to really operate at the tempo and the execution level that they wanted to. As you look at them, they do a really good job of tackling. They do a good job of changing up looks on you. I thought there were times where, Memphis quarterback Brady, who is a guy who's seen it all, done everything right. He's a great operator. But there were times where I felt like, they took away a couple of different options from him and got him a little bit confused in there. So there's some things in there that we've got to do a really good job of, is just taking what they're giving us, making sure that we're executing at a good level, because defensively, I thought they looked probably as good as they looked all year long last week versus Memphis.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Coach, you've done this so many times where a game gets postponed and you have a few extra days or whatever to get ready for the next opponent. Because you've done it so many times, is there one or two things that you've almost perfected by this point with regard to the preparation when you're in this situation where it's not exactly a bye week, but it's a couple extra days?
Yeah, I think, Caden, the thing that threw a little bit different twist to it this time was the Thanksgiving holiday part of it, right? I mean, the other times we've still been in school, things have still been going on. So it was a little bit different twist to it this time. And, I think our guys handled it well. I think we've tried to give our guys some breaks in there, but also, have things going on throughout that keeps us locked in on what we need to do from a virus standpoint, from a game plan standpoint. And so, and this one's a little bit different too, because, we were preparing for Navy earlier in the year, and then all of a sudden, obviously that went away. And so you kind of had to go back and kind of grab some of the things that you were talking about before that happened, try to get that back in your mind. But also the crazy part about it is Navy hadn't played a game until last weekend since the one they had before us. So there wasn't a whole bunch of other tape that you got to go look at and view. You had to wait until the Memphis game happened before you had an opportunity to look at them versus somebody else. So some different twist in it. I think our guys have handled it well. Obviously, we got to get back on the field and keep improving.
You guys have been one of the most snake-bitten teams when it comes to, scheduling changes with COVID. Are you confident you're going to get to play this week? Are you ever confident at this point in the season with all you've gone through?
I feel good where we're at, and I feel good where Navy's at. But as far as being confident, I don't want to step out. That limb is really, really small, and it's been on the tree a long time, and I'm too scared to step too far out on it.
You were talking about, Caden was saying how maybe you perfected these off weeks where you weren't planning on off weeks. Did you get much extra time when you found out that you weren't going to play last week to kind of revisit Navy, or is it with the holidays and everything, is it just kind of like a normal game week?
No, we got a couple extra days in. Obviously, again, you didn't have more film to go back and look at and try to adjust and make maybe some different thoughts and different plans schematically, because you're right back to where you were. But we did get a couple of extra days. Obviously, I think that will help. We tried to take advantage of those days. But again, it's still difficult with Navy and what they do and on both sides of the football, honestly, all three phases.
Coach,
guys are kind of having a special season after a couple of down seasons. Any worry that you won't be able to get some of the things that you could earn because you're not going to be able to play enough games?
I don't think so. My thought to all of this is, take care of each week. Don't worry about the things that, and I've said this over and over to y'all, and I know you're sick of hearing it, but control what we can control. Right now, we get an opportunity to play Navy. We want to go 1-0 this week. We take care of Navy, then I think everything else will take care of itself. So for us, that's our mindset, and that's kind of our mantra, and that's what we got to continue to work through.
Coach, how are you doing with player-wise as far as injuries go? Do you have an update on Smith or anybody else that's banged up at this point? Yeah,
I think everybody's going to be okay except for Seth. Seth ended up having to have the surgery. He is out for the remainder of the year. Hate that for him, and I know he's battling his way through that. But as far as everybody else, I feel like we should be in decent shape, and everybody's got bruises and banged up a little bit this time of year, but for the most part, I think everybody else will be available.
With that, the way Davis played against Tulane, does it add a little, caveat as to who you want to go with against Navy, or do you already have it set in stone who you want under center?
Yeah, Zach's still our starter. Will continue to be our starter, and Davis is always prepared and ready.
Coach, on the defensive side of the ball, obviously Zaven getting all the attention as he should. Who else has kind of been standing out to you that maybe we should be talking more about? For me, when I'm shooting the games on the sideline, I've seen Kendaren do some stuff. Christian Williams, obviously. The defense as a whole has been playing great. So who else outside of Zaven has been a guy that, you think we should be talking more about?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a number of different names that fall into that category because, again, I think our defense has played lights out all year long and continue to build. And Zaven would probably be the first one to tell you that there's a lot of guys that are playing at a really high level right now. When you start and you look at it up front, and I think that's where you have to start, you know, Big Cat, Jackson, Anthony Goodlow has really stepped up this year as a young player that has really come on, got kind of thrust into that because of some injuries and different things like that. You know, it was good to have Cullen back last couple of games and what he's been able to add to that. But that defensive line as a whole, I think, is playing very aggressively. They're playing rushing the passer well. They're doing what they got to do in the run game part of it and making big plays for us. You know, I think as you look at our linebacking core, obviously Zaven is going to be the guy that everybody talks about, like you said, for good reason. But, you know, Justin Wright has stepped in when Yoli Hansi went down in fall camp right before the Oklahoma State game. And this is a guy that was planning on being a really strong backup for us, so a guy that got thrust into the starting role and I think has improved every week, has made big plays for us, has been dynamic at times, and continues to get better each and every week. I think Trayvon has played extremely well. I think Grant has played well, backing him up at times. You talk about Kendarian and what he's been able to do. Again, I think, and I said it at the first of the year, Kendarian, I think, has got the chance to be maybe the best safety to come out of here in a long, long time. He can run, he can cover, he can tackle, he can do all of those things. Christian Williams has played lights out. Ty Neal has played lights out. He's had to miss a couple of games for certain reasons. But when he's been in, has played really well. And then I've said it all year long, I think we have two all-conference corners in Ollie and in Caleb. And then the guys that have come in and backed those guys up, I think Ryan has come in and played well. Tyon has played well. All of those guys have come in and made significant contributions to games. But those two other ones, Caleb and AG, I think those two guys are lights out corners, and they can play against a lot of different looks. And as our defense as a whole, that's the way they operate. They continue to raise the bar, the standard, and got to have it again this week.
How much of that goes to Gillespie? I mean, we like to talk about players and how good they are and how they've improved, but the jump he's taken, I mean, have you seen him kind of, I guess players obviously are a big part of it too, but is it something within him that's changed as well that's kind of led to the defensive performance?
I think he'd be the first one to tell you it's all about our players and what they bring to the table. I think our defensive staff do an outstanding job, whether you're talking about Coach Gillespie or you're talking about Coach Fletcher, Coach Buck, you know, Coach Olson, Coach Ashley. I mean, those guys as a group, they've been a great team. They've done a great job of scheming. They've done a great job putting our players in position. But at the end of the day, it's about our players and what they're able to do when they step on the field. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They've been in now this defense for a while. And I think that has been a big part of it, is just the consistency of that. And I don't want to take anything away from what our players are able to do when they step on the field.
Well, how much of that, what they've been able to do is, you know, being in this system for several years, and it seems like they are working, all of these pieces are working so well together. Is that just the trust that they have in each other?
I think it is. I think it's schematically understanding where they're supposed to be within the defense, knowing our assignments, being able to fit things and do all of that is so vitally important. And then it's just trusting the guy beside you to do his job. You're going to do your job, and not trying to get outside of that bubble. A lot of times when we do that, trying to do somebody else's, it leaves a big gap or it leaves a big hole in a coverage, and big explosive plays happen. And these guys do a really good job of depending upon each other, trusting each other, and then they do a great job of tackling and running to the football.
Coach, after last week or the last game you played, you mentioned Zaven should be a Heisman candidate. Since then, I've seen some national people in the Heisman type polls mention his name. He was a Butkus semifinalist this week. Do you kind of think your comment is a kind of mission accomplished to get him a little more national attention?
Yeah, I mean, it should be his play. I mean, I didn't do anything but just say what everybody else I hope is seeing on tape and on TV. And I'm glad that he has gotten some more recognition, but I don't take any of the credit for that. His play is what has done all of it, and I think more people are just noticing it.
Have you ever seen, I mean, in all your years of coaching, a defensive player at the end of game? I mean, he's basically ended 3 games with interceptions. Have that kind of impact at the end of games in crunch time like that?
No, not really. I really haven't. I mean, just a guy that has put himself in position, and then, you know, at big times makes big plays. And we've had other guys do the same thing. I mean, whether you're talking about Jackson on a blocked field goal, or a big sack by somebody, or a big pass breakup. I mean, Caleb had a huge one the other night on I think a 3rd and 10 that was able to knock a ball away, or maybe that was 2nd and 10. But you know, AG with a pick in the first game. You know, just guys continuing to make plays. But as far as Zaven goes, I think he's a guy that continues to show up at big moments, and I think he always has throughout his career. And it goes back to being diligent in the film room, preparing yourself for games, and then just the instinctiveness of knowing what's kind of happening around you.
How have you seen him handle the attention and the awards weekly that come his way, and even some of that Heisman talk?
Yeah, you know, I think he's handled it outstanding. You know, he understands, you know, it's really about our team and our team's success, and about our defense and our defense success, and the guys around him, and the plays that they're making that are allowing him to make other plays. So I think he has done a really good job of handling all of that, and I think he'll continue to do that.
It's December, and so a conference champion will be, you know, determined this month. As you said earlier, you guys are kind of in the driver's seat for that. How important is it? I mean, outside of maybe the USF game, and there are good reasons for it, but it's been hard for you guys to put it all together for 60 minutes. You battled for 60 minutes and have had some great comebacks, but how important will it be to ultimately accomplish what this team could accomplish now, to come together, you know, and probably starting this week, start playing complete games?
Well, that's been our goal all year long. And obviously it's been our focus. I think for our guys, obviously, as you approach the end of the year, you're wanting to be more consistent. You're wanting to be more established from that standpoint, and you want to put it all together. And it's just about going out and executing at a high level. I think our guys are locked into that point of it. And obviously, as a coaching staff, that's what we're wanting. But you know, we understand as the season progresses, the level of play has got to continue to go up, and that's kind of been our focus as we've moved through.
Coach, go to Zaven. How much better has he made the other linebackers like Colin Wick and whatnot? Like, you know, Colin was under Travis last year, but now he's, you know, has Zaven with him. So how much better has he made the other linebackers as a whole?
Well, I just think our guys do a good job of continuing to push each other, right? I mean, whether you're talking about Derek Alexander that was here several years ago, or you're talking about a Jesse Brubaker, or you know, even Cooper last year, and what he really was able to give to Zaven from a standpoint of, you know, the way you got to work, the way you got to prepare, the way you got to study, and getting yourself in position. You talk about Travis and Reggie last year, and just the way those guys prepared and got themselves ready to play. I think that has just been contagious throughout our team, and guys are continuing to help each other, to push each other, and to sharpen each other. And that's why we continue to do things against, you know, ones-on-ones in practice at times throughout the year, each and every week, because as we say, and this is not our phrase, but, you know, iron sharpens iron. So, you know, it gives us an opportunity to continue to test ourselves and better ourselves.